It happened just 5 minutes ago. The city was asleep. Lights trembling faintly across the Han River. When Dispatch released a series of photos that sent shockwaves through the entire nation. Two familiar silhouettes stood beneath the dim street lamps of Cheongdam-dong, Jung and Jung So-min, side by side. Wrapped in the stillness of midnight. The headline hit like thunder across a quiet sky. Exclusive, Jung and Jung So-min caught together at midnight. Outside, the streets were glistening from a late autumn drizzle. Faint hum of cars in the distance seemed almost shy. Hesitant to disturb the fragile moment between two people whose connection had, until now, lived only in whispers. The first photograph showed them emerging from a small art gallery tucked into a narrow alley in Hanam-dong. It was past midnight. She wore a soft beige trench coat. Hair tied loosely. The corners of her lips lifting in an unguarded smile. He followed her with quiet steps. Black hoodie pulled low. Hands in his pockets. There was nothing extravagant about the scene, no bodyguards. No entourage, just a calm familiarity of two people walking side by side in the cold. In the second photo, Jung Hae-in was seen opening the car door for Jung So-min. Leaning slightly forward as if shielding her from the drizzle. The reflection of the streetlight glimmered across his face, revealing that gentle, unmistakable smile that fans had fallen for countless times on screen. The caption under the photo read, "They looked comfortable, like two people who had shared countless midnights together." It was a sentence simple enough to break hearts. By the time Dispatch uploaded the third image, social media had already exploded. #Jung Hae-in was trending in 20 countries. Followed closely by Jung So-min and Midnight Couple. Fans were caught between disbelief and excitement. Endlessly. Zooming in on every frame. Analyzing every gesture, the way their shoulders brushed. The soft glance he gave her. The calm way she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. For some, it was a dream come true. For others, it was a heartbreak they hadn't been ready to feel. Because this wasn't just any pairing, this was Jung Hae-in, the actor known for his pure, almost poetic image, and Jung So-min, the woman who seemed born out of the quiet elegance of Seoul streets. Together, they looked like a scene written by fate and filmed by moonlight. Online communities revived old memories. They remembered the way the two had smiled at each other during a 2022 film promotion event. Back then, their chemistry was so natural that even Season Mix teased them. Both had brushed it off with laughter, calling themselves just colleagues, but now, with Dispatch's late-night revelation, old clips suddenly carried new meaning. Speculation ran wild. Some claimed they had been secretly meeting for months, while others insisted it was just friendship between two introverted souls. Yet the photos told a story that words could not contain. Each frame carried something fragile, something unscripted, like two lines from a poem that accidentally rhymed. As dawn approached, the entertainment industry began to stir. Reporters gathered outside FNC Entertainment, Jung Hae-in's management company in Nonhae-in-dong, for a statement. The company finally released a brief comment at 3:12 a.m. "We're currently checking the facts regarding Jung Hae-in's private schedule tonight." It was the kind of response that neither confirmed nor denied. A delicate pause between truth and protection. Years later, TH Company, which manages Jung So-min, followed with a similar line. "They have been friends for years. It's true that they met privately. But please refrain from speculation." But the restraint in their words only deepened the mystery. Fans and analysts alike understood what silence often means in the entertainment world, when the denial isn't sharp. The truth is often soft. By morning, Dispatch released one final set of images. In them, Jung Hae-in and Jung So-min were seen standing side by side on the Banpo Bridge, overlooking the sleeping Han River. The wind was gentle, carrying faint traces of rain, and the water shimmered beneath the city's dim skyline. She leaned slightly on the railing, her gaze lost in the reflection of the city lights. He stood beside her, his expression unreadable but tender. There was a space between them, small enough to be crossed by a single heartbeat. The photographer's note under the photo read simply, "They didn't speak for a while. They just stood there, watching the city breathe." That single sentence became the morning's most shared line across Korean social media. Thousands reposted it with captions like, "If this is love, let it stay this quiet," and sometimes, "Silence says everything." Television hosts debated the meaning behind their late-night meeting. Was it the start of a new romance? Or just a reunion between two old friends seeking comfort in familiarity? Either way, something about the photos felt cinematic. If they belonged to a scene that no director could have staged. The entire country was drawn into the story not because of the gossip, but because of the tenderness that bled through every pixel. By midday, even international outlets had picked up the news. One Japanese entertainment site titled its article "Korea's Midnight Couple, the city that witnessed two shadows of love." The poetic phrasing only fueled the frenzy. On fan forums, users began sharing old interviews where Jung So-min once said, "I like people who make quiet moments feel special." Another recalled Jung Haeun's line from a past drama, "Sometimes love doesn't arrive loudly, it waits for you in silence, suddenly." Those quotes felt prophetic. At FNC's headquarters, staff members were seen moving hurriedly, answering phones, while reporters gathered outside holding microphones. One insider supposedly whispered to a journalist, "Han isn't the type to play games. If he's meeting someone, there's a reason." Meanwhile, TH Company tried to calm the waves, reminding the public that So-min values her privacy deeply and urging fans not to jump to conclusions. Yet, in every corner of the internet, the same question echoed endlessly: was this the beginning of something real? As evening fell again over Seoul, the same bridge where the photos were taken glowed beneath amber light. Tourists stood there, some hoping to glimpse the spot where the rumored couple once stood. The wind was color now, and the city's heart seemed to beat a little slower, like it, too, was waiting for an answer. The story of Jung Haeun and Jung So-min had, in just a few hours, become more than gossip. It had become a story about longing, about two people caught between fame and the fragile human desire to connect. Whether it was love or not, the images carried something that transcended rumor. They reminded people of how loneliness sometimes walks hand in hand with tenderness, how a look can become a confession. A simple midnight in Seoul could feel like the whole world had paused just to witness two souls in quiet harmony. And so, as Dispatch's camera clicked for the final time, and the city returned to sleep, one question remained suspended over the Han River. Was it simply a meeting between old friends? Or the first chapter of a love story that Seoul would remember long after the night had faded? When morning finally broke over Seoul, it felt different. The usual rush of commuters and the soft chatter of cafes were overshadowed by a new kind of tension, the quiet hum of curiosity that spreads when something tender has been exposed. The world had seen the photos, and now everyone waited for answers. The dawn that followed Dispatch's midnight revelation felt like the silence after thunder, too still, too fragile to last. Outside FNC Entertainment's sleek glass building in Nonhaeindong, a crowd of reporters had gathered before the clock even struck 9. Their breath hung in the cold air, microphones poised like arrows waiting for truth. Across the river, at TH Company, fans lined up along the narrow street, clutching banners, phones, and tiny coffee cups as if holding on to faith itself. Overnight, Seoul had turned into a city of speculation and hope. Inside the companies, the mood was cautious but calm. Representatives spoke in hushed tones, exchanging glances filled with unspoken worry. For Jung Haeun, the image of quiet gentleness he had built over years now faced its most delicate test. For Jung So-min, whose soft sincerity had earned her the love of millions, the weight of the rumor was equally heavy. Yet, amid the noise, neither of them spoke. Their silence was almost poetic, neither denial nor confession. Just the stillness of two people caught in something larger than words. By 10 a.m., television networks were already broadcasting live outside both agencies. Commentators analyzed every frame of Dispatch's photos like scholars dissecting ancient art. "Look at the way he leans toward her," one said. "Circles on a screen. That's not just friendship, it's instinct," another countered. "Or maybe it's just courtesy." Jung Haeun is known for his manners. Viewers at home smiled, argued, laughed, and sighed. The country, once again, was captivated by a story that might never be confirmed. At noon, Jung Haeun appeared quietly at a commercial shoot in Gangnam, wearing a black coat and a navy scarf. The press swarmed around him, their questions sharp, their flashes blinding. But he didn't flinch. He paused, bowed politely, and when someone asked, "Is it true you're dating Jung So-min?" he simply said, "She's someone I respect deeply." That one sentence, simple, measured, sincere, spread like wildfire across the internet. It wasn't a yes. But it wasn't a no. As a whisper of something real wrapped in the politeness of Korean restraint. Meanwhile, across the city, Jung So-min posted something on her Instagram story. Just a picture, a single cup of coffee resting on a wooden table. Morning sunlight spilling over the rim. Her caption read, "Some nights stay longer than others." Within minutes, fans noticed the identical coffee cup from Dispatch's photos. Coincidence? Maybe. But coincidence has a way of feeling like fate when the heart wants to believe. By afternoon, both companies had no choice but to respond again. In a rare move, FNC Entertainment and TH Company released a joint statement at 3 p.m. after confirming with both artists recently met to discuss a new script reading for a potential drama collaboration. They have maintained a close friendship since their previous project. The wording was delicate, professional, crafted to calm, not to reveal. Batch wasn't done. Minutes after the announcement, they updated their article. There were no scripts, no staff, no production cars nearby. Two people standing quietly under the Han River Bridge. It was a subtle rebuke, but sharp enough to keep the fire alive. The media frenzy refused to fade. Instead, it deepened, like ripples in water after a single pebble falls. Across social media, fans took sides. One group defended them fiercely. They deserve privacy, while another spun wild theories about secret dates, coded posts, and hidden bracelets. If all the noise was something softer, admiration. People couldn't stop replaying the images. The stillness between them. The warmth that seemed too genuine to fake. And just gossip anymore, it had become a story about emotion itself. About the possibility of love surviving under the weight of fame. At night, Dispatch released a final follow-up article. Instead of more photos, it included an observation from the photographer himself. Didn't hide. They just didn't announce. Maybe that's the purest kind of love, one that exists quietly, without needing to be proven. The line struck a chord. Even those tired of celebrity rumors felt something stir inside them. Because, in truth, everyone understood what it meant to love quietly, to want something real in a world that never stops watching. Days passed, and the noise began to settle. Both actors continued their schedules, appearing in public but avoiding questions. Yet every time Jung smiled during a fan meeting, someone whispered, "That's So-min's smile." Every time Jung So-min posted a sunset photo, someone commented, "The light looks like him." It was as if their silence had created a new language between them, and the world couldn't help but listen. Inside industry circles, whispers continued. A producer who had once worked with both actors told a magazine, "They share a strange energy. When they were together, it feels calm, like they've known each other for a long time." Another crew member recalled how, during a past shoot, In had once waited outside in the rain so So-min wouldn't have to walk alone to her car. Little stories like that resurfaced now, painting a picture too gentle to dismiss. And yet, neither agency confirmed nor denied. The public began to understand that maybe they never would. Because some truths, especially in love, meant to be spoken, they're meant to be felt. A week later, Seoul had returned to its rhythm. Memory of that midnight still lingered like perfume in the air. The Banpo Bridge, once just another spot for couples and tourists, quietly transformed into a symbol. Every evening, people walked there, gazing over the water, imagining two figures standing beneath the pale moonlight. The air carried whispers, "This is where it began." On a quiet Thursday night, a few fans claimed to have seen Jung So-min walking near the bridge again. She was alone, wearing a long coat, hands tucked into her pockets. The river was calm that night, the city lights reflecting in soft ripples. One took a picture from afar, blurry, distant, but it spread instantly online. She came back, the caption read. She just missed the view. Others weren't so sure. Some swore they saw a tall man standing not far behind her, wearing a dark scarf that looked familiar. The post went viral, then disappeared, leaving behind only a trace of wonder. While, in a small interview weeks later, Jung was asked indirectly about love. He smiled gently and said, "Love isn't always about making noise. Sometimes it's just about showing up, quietly, when no one else would." It wasn't confirmation, but it didn't need to be. By then, the story had already taken on a life of its own. Fans began calling it the Midnight Bridge story. Some made fan edits, blending Dispatch's photos with soft piano music. Others wrote poems inspired by that single night. It was as if everyone wanted to preserve the feeling that those photos had given them, the delicate ache of something unfinished, something real but unspoken. And perhaps that's what made it so hauntingly beautiful. Because in the end, it wasn't about whether Jung Hae-in and Jung So-min were dating. It was about what they represented, a quiet kind of affection that didn't need an audience. A connection that existed beyond the flash of cameras. Seoul, for a moment, had become a city of dreamers again. People walking home at midnight found themselves glancing at the sky, wondering if love might also be waiting for them somewhere under the same moon. The story had transcended the boundaries of celebrity. It had become a reflection of everyone who had ever loved in silence. In the weeks that followed, both actors resumed their work. Jung Hae-in began filming a new drama in Busan. Jung So-min signed on for an indie film in Jeju. They moved forward, professionally poised, privately guarded. But fans noticed small coincidences, similar locations, overlapping travel dates, fleeting smiles in interviews when each other's name was mentioned. It was all unconfirmed, yet deeply felt. Echoes of a song that refuses to end. And somewhere, between those echoes, the truth lived quietly, too tender to expose, too real to deny. Months later, when Dispatch celebrated its anniversary and reposted its most viewed stories of the year, the midnight couple photos topped the list. The caption beneath read, "Some stories don't end, they fade, softly, like light on water." And just like that, the memory returned. The sight of two figures standing by the Han River. The soft glow of Seoul behind them. Unspoken warmth that connected them. It wasn't scandal anymore. Something closer to poetry. In a city that never truly sleeps, where love stories are written and erased every day, their moment remained untouched. People still spoke of it sometimes, late at night, when the streets were quiet and the air smelled faintly of rain. They called it destiny, or coincidence, or simply timing. But those who saw the photos, who felt the stillness between them, knew it was something more. Because in that one night, under the moonlight, beside the silent river, two souls had met, not as actors, not as celebrities, but as people. The world, for once, had paused to witness it. Maybe that's why, even now, when someone mentions Jung Hae-in and Jung So-min, people don't just think of rumors or headlines. Think of that moment, the quiet breath between them. Tenderness in the shadows. The kind of love that doesn't demand to be seen, only to be felt. And perhaps that's all it ever was. Night. A quiet confession. A story that belonged to the city, and to the silence that followed.